Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Building Loved Businesses, the show where we explore what makes companies loved by their employees and their customers. I'm your host, Nathan Schock, and today I'm joined by someone who you're going to really enjoy. It's Vince Wuebker, CEO of Hot Spring Spas and Pool Tables 2 in Fargo, North Dakota. Vince has had a long history, a family history, as a hot spring dealer. And we're excited to have him here to share his story with you. Vince, welcome to
Hey
Building Love
Nathan,
Business.
thank you for having me. Look forward to it.
All right, so Vince, just give us your backstory. How did you get into this industry? Walk us back to what your parents were doing, and then how you first got into being a hot tub distributor.
Well, I grew up on a big cattle farm in southwest Minnesota, hometown Fulda. And in 1985, as I went off to college in Sioux City, the farm crisis kind of hit home. And while I'm at college, things are really going south. And, by the end of the 80s, I graduate from college and I end up working at Gateway Computers, the cow spotted boxes, North Sioux City, South Dakota. And during that time, my parents actually lost the farm and moved to Marshall, Minnesota, and they didn't know what to do. He worked 1 year selling used cars and boats, and didn't like working for the man. So he decided, I'm going to open up a hot tub company in Marshall. And they brought on hot spring spas. They did their research. They brought that on, and in the meantime, they proceeded to open stores in Wilmer, Minnesota, and Watertown, South Dakota, and things are going good. And we're going from 1992 up to 97. I'm still at Gateway, but I could kind of tell things were not going well in the computer industry, as our headquarters were going to move to San Diego. I'm in HR. I'm laying people off left and right. And I go to my boss, and meanwhile, my dad's going to close his store in Watertown. And I go to my boss, Charlie Fisher, and I said, Hey, my dad needs some help in Watertown. What should I do? And he said, and he's got the North Carolina accent. And he's like, Son, you ain't going to get rich working for the man. And I'm like, You mean my dad? And he's like, No, dummy, here. So things worked out. I ended up in Watertown, South Dakota. And truth be told, the real reason I wanted Watertown was they have a nice lake, and I thought it'd be pretty cool to live on a lake. So water brought me to water, and moved to Watertown in October '97. And I got to tell you, Nathan, at first I absolutely hated it. I went from working with 5,000 employees to now working in a small retail store of about 1,200 square feet. Didn't have contact with people daily, and it was really, really tough sledding at first. And it was later that into the 1998, I went to the dealer meeting it was in Las Vegas, and I remember Jim Van Fleet and Mainly Hot Tubs won the Loxine Thompson Award, which is the Super Bowl trophy of our industry. And I'm like thinking, you know what? I want to be like him. And it dawned on me at that moment, I'm in the bottom 10%. How do I get to the top 10%? And it just, the light bulb went off. I got to do what those people are doing, and just copy that and not reinvent the wheel. So that's really how the
Yeah,
ball rolled.
that's great. I want to stop there because that's a really important principle that you just came across there. A couple of them, right? One is I talk to lots of dealers across industries too, and they're always like, "Oh, do I want to spend the time and money to go to the industry meeting?" Right? And it's like, where else are you going to have an opportunity to get around other successful people who are doing the same thing you are? Right?
It, it,
So, yeah.
it's amazing. Everybody will be able to tell within minutes or hours who's the best and who's not, right? And
Yeah.
it doesn't get any simpler than I want to be like that person. And
Right.
I guarantee you, no matter what industry, if you reach out to who you think is the best and ask them for help, they are more than gracious to, provide you like just direction and tips and, hey, stay in contact with us. If you have any questions, call me at any time. And it's really pretty simple, but makes magnificent strides forward. So you just can't talk about that enough.
Right. Okay. So you go to the industry meeting and you're getting inspired. You're seeing what's capable, what people are capable of, what's possible for you. So then what did you go back into that Watertown store, that Watertown, South Dakota store, 1,200 square feet of retail space? What did you start doing differently than what you had done before?
Just changed my paradigm. I'm like, all right, I was focusing on the wrong things, not for lack of, just intentionally doing it, just not knowing. And here's the right things to focus on. And keep in mind, Nathan, this is early in the game. There's a lot of, it didn't happen overnight. There's a lot of learning that is still to come. But just focusing on, for me, it really boiled down to this. You might be better than me at this point in time, but I'm going to outwork you. I'm going to be open Sundays. I'm going to do the things. I'm going to get in my car and drive out to your house and sit down at the kitchen table with you. So I'm going to do all the little things that, will really work harder to give me a little bit of an advantage there. Because our showroom certainly wasn't the best. Our products were great. I still had a lot to learn, but it was just the work ethic that I'm like, all right, you're going to do this, do it.
Yeah, another huge lesson there. I don't talk to any entrepreneurs, and you can go back and look at all the past episodes of Building Love Businesses where they got into the business and they didn't they that one of the reasons for their growth wasn't that they just worked, right? They're going to outwork people. Like if you're not willing to do that, starting a business is not the right thing for you. Okay, so now you've got this new paradigm and you're in that Watertown store. Just where did it go from there? How did tell the story then of how you ended up where you are in Fargo, North Dakota?
Yeah, the short of that is it's, 2001, I bought Aberdeen and South Dakota, and then I had a store in Pierre. So I had three stores and really was feeling kind of overwhelmed. One of my customers from Watertown came to me and said, I'd like to buy your business. And my dad at that time just gave me some advice. He goes, yeah, do it. You have too much going on. And so I sold it in 2003, and now I'm moving to Aberdeen, and I really have seller's remorse. I'm like, what did you just do? You sold a business in the town you live in. And as fate would have it, about the same time, the dealer in Fargo kept coming down to me and saying, hey, we want to retire. You should buy our business. And my thought process was, you've been in business 40 years. I've been in business 5. There's no way I could afford this. Anyway, at about the 10th time, they said, just come up and take a look at it. And I'm like, all right. So driving up to Fargo the whole way, I'm like, turn around, don't go. But once I got to Fargo, I realized the economic opportunity, and they weren't big at all. If there were 6 hot tub dealers in Fargo Moorhead, they were number 6. They were in a bad retail location. I'm no fault of their own. I think in their mind, they were a pool company, and I'm a hot tub company. I'm retail. So Fargo, just the light bulb went on. I'm like, yep, we're moving up here. And moved up to Fargo in 2004. Again, bought a company. Like if there were 6 hot tub companies, we were number 6. And the story I can tell about the other 5 hot tub companies, they all had some kind of agreement, handshake agreement. We're not going to be open on Sundays. And I'm like, I don't care. I never made that handshake. We are going to be open on Sundays. And the first thing we did was we moved to a better location, changed the name of the company, And we were open 7 days a week. And then just from there, the battle was on. And to do the little history here, to give you guys an example, again, in 2004, we're sixth in Fargo. By 2011, we're number one in the world, winning a Loxine Thompson Award. So that first part of the journey, it went straight up the mountain. And again, it wasn't easy. It didn't happen by accident.
Love that. Just those early days of grinding it out, right? And I know from talking to you before, Vince, that I think you said, how many days off did you take in the first 15 years of your business?
You took about 5 days off a year, the major holidays, and so that was it. And you know, you missed out on some things in life, but at the same time, you know, it wasn't work; it was game day, and you know, you just really had to embrace it that way. Like you are what you do, and you know, I'm gonna win today, and that's all you got. So it was
And
it's a
that wasn't,
mindset more.
yeah,
It's a mindset more than anything.
yeah, totally. And that wasn't, I want to make sure people understand this. That wasn't 5 days, five major holidays, and all the weekends, right? It was just the five major holidays, right? So there
Yeah,
was like,
Saturdays, Sundays were, you know, those were busy retail days. So, and at first, Nathan, it was really tough because all my friends were going to the lake or they're doing this on the weekend. And, you know, you just did have that little bit of feeling sorry for yourself. I'm missing out on this. And again, it is totally just a mindset. You know, you are where you are in your head.
right. And nobody ever, like you said, uh, the guy told you, you know, get rich working for the man. Um, you also don't get rich living beyond your means, right? Or trying to keep up with the Joneses. It really is pay now, play later, or play now, pay later. Okay. So there was one other big shift for you, and that's when you said, we're not selling hot tubs. We're selling something else. So just tell that story about how you came in to understand that what you're really selling, what the customer's really buying, is not a hot tub. They're buying wellness. So just talk us through how you made that transition in your business and the impact that had.
I I think, you know, again, I never really invented anything here. I just kind of grabbed the best of the best of the best. And it was after I said we won the first Loxine Thompson Award. And that was in 2012 and 2011 into 2012. And so Scott Iverson, our national trainer for Hot Spring Spas, came to Fargo and did a video shoot on us. That was a half hour like hot spring TV bit, and in between shooting, he's looking at our showroom and he notices the amount of saunas we have on display. And prior to that time, Scotty was teaching, you know, the benefits of a hot tub, the why, you know, the filtration, the features and benefits. And walking to the showroom, he's like, "You sell a lot of these saunas?" And we're like, "Yeah." He goes, "How?" I said, "We just tell people they're good for you." And it was at that moment his shift changed to more wellness and you know what the benefits of hot water and the human being do. And I probably took from that moment 100 pages of notes just on the benefits of a hot tub. And it was, you know, always our tagline was, it started as "your better living begins today." And that tagline is really important in a business. But it was around 2014, Hot Springs changed their tagline along with their training to "Every Day Made Better." And January 2014, my New Year's resolution, I woke up talking to a buddy of mine, Casey, in La Crosse. I said, "You know what?" And he sells hot tubs too. He's a hot spring dealer. I said, "Casey, my New Year's resolution, I'm going to stop selling hot tubs." And he goes, "What? You're quitting? You're done?" I'm like, "No, I'm going to stop selling hot tubs and I'm going to start selling Every Day Made Better. This has to be about more than a hot tub. It just does." And it's easy to say it. it's tougher to live it and do it. And it probably took, it was into the fourth month in April. We're doing a show in Bismarck, and this lady already has a hot springs, and she's shopping three different companies at the show. And I'm talking about our filters, I'm talking about our circ pump, I'm talking about all the features that are on this hot tub, and it's not resonating. And I'm like, it's now or never. And I said, Leanne, we do the things that allow you to use it more. And when you use it more, you get every day made better, which is this: you're better physically below the water, you're better mentally above the water, and you're better relationally beyond the water. She melted right then and there. She goes, I've never heard somebody talk like that before. And from that point on, it was game on. I knew this couldn't be about commodities. It had to be about you, your wellness, every day made better. And to give an example, Nathan, I believe this: if you want to sell 50 hot tubs a year, let's say you're in our business, you sell hot tubs. You want to sell 50 a year? Sell a hot tub. You want to sell, the sky's the limit, 500 more? Sell every day made better, because that transcends beyond the showroom out into, your everyday life, whether you're at the Y, whether you're at the grocery store, whether you're at church. You have a good conversation you can have with anybody about wellness, which does lead back to our product. So it is a game changer of all time.
Yeah, that's such an important point too. And this applies to any industry, right? If we're selling features and benefits, we're selling something that people don't want, right? I think about a hot tub. If I'm hearing about all these great features, in my mind, I'm thinking, that sounds expensive. That sounds expensive. Wow, it can do all that. That sounds kind of expensive. Or I'm thinking, what happens when one of those things breaks, right? Then what? But if right, but if you're selling the outcome that I want, that's a totally different thing. It's as a customer, I have a job to be done, and I want to sleep better. I want to feel better. I don't want my legs to hurt anymore or my back. Right now, that's a totally different buying proposition than buying a hot tub on features and benefits.
You're 100% right. And again, one of the prefaces when I start talking to the customer about a hot tub, I'll even, in so many words, tell them, I get it. You don't want to buy this. It's too much money. It's never going to, it might break down. You're not going to use it. Or your neighbors have one. They said, don't do it. I get it. But we want to be better parents. We want to walk better, talk better. We want to sleep better. We want to do every single thing we can do better because of this product than without. And that's a fact. So it is truly a great, realistic story that makes us better people beyond the physical commodity that is the hot tub.
Yeah. Okay, great. So now I think you said you're what, around 2013, 2014, some in there in that range. You've been grinding, working hard. You've built it up to one of the top dealers in the country, and it's continuing to grow. Now talk about what we saw across the industry as you went into COVID. Right now, people are locked down at home. They've got an infusion of money coming from the government, right? Like, what did that do for your business?
Um, yeah, March 2020. I know, we all can remember it probably very vividly. And there were many hot spring dealers across the hot spring network that physically were canceling truckloads or a product they had on order to come, and were canceling truckloads. Well, the factory is like, well, let's call Vince in Fargo. He'll take them. And of course I did. I'm like, I see a great opportunity here. And again, I didn't I didn't pull this out of thin air. I just remembered back to September 11th, when the U.S. shut down there, and more people were afraid to travel and do things. And guess what they did? They invested in themselves in their backyard, and I just could feel it was going to be the same thing. And We bought more truckloads. We had more inventory during COVID than ever, but it was amazing. There were dealers calling the sauna manufacturer, Finleo, Cocato, and saying, "Hey, can I get this particular sauna?" And they would say, "No, Vince has everything. Call Vince in Fargo. He has it." So was it convenient? No, we were tripping over product. We were tripping over everything, but it really propelled us to the next level. And with it wasn't all roses either, right? With COVID, there were a lot of shortages of this and that, and I think we sold so many products so fast, it just became too easy. And I would remind everybody, hey, you better stay sharp. You better remember every day made better, because this thing's going to end. And when you come out of it, there's going to be a big drop. We can't afford to drop. And there was that aspect of it, the mindset, but there was also, shortages of product that, we probably didn't do. We were just riding the wave. We probably didn't take care of the customer, for whatever reason, whether it was legit, we couldn't get it, or things were too easy, or, using it's COVID as an excuse.
Yeah.
And so coming out of this, and this is going to lead to your next bit, but
Yeah.
yeah, I could tell we've gone as high as we can go now because of our internal culture. We're going to go backwards. So we got to change the inside fast, before we can begin to continue to move forward.
Right. Yeah. And I think about that, Vince, right? You in terms of sales, there's probably nobody better than you in the industry, right? You guys have, again, you're taking the extra product from all over the country that people don't want because you're selling like crazy. But at times in our business, we can outsell our systems, right? And
Correct.
then growth can become the enemy of culture, right? So you're starting to feel this, right? As you're selling more and more, but that means more customers with more needs and more problems and more service issues, things that they need your help with. And that's about the time that we started working together, right? That you brought in me to help with some of those things. So describe what that was. As you said, you're starting to feel this pressure up against the culture. So as we started working together, what were you trying to solve?
Um, that's a Internally we were a mess, and again, too much of the culture, like, well, it's not our fault, it's COVID, it's everybody's fault but ours. And whether another employee or the industry or just the economic environment. And really that became our culture. And I'm going to give you an example. One of our managers was always, his favorite line was, "The problem is." And I'm like, I don't want to hear what the problem is. I want to hear how to fix it. And so just truly a mess. And to give where 5-4 really came into the picture, my friend Tom from Sioux Falls said, "Hey, I got a guy coming up there. I referred you guys." And I was at first like, "Tom, you dummy, that I'm gonna get you for this." And then you guys showed up, and we could talk for the next 3 hours here, but it really truly saved the company and was a tremendous game changer, and really developed the internal customer and picture that you need as a business to succeed, and grow. And about the same time, I think it's happening over the industry, because we started with you. It's been about three. I don't know the exact date right now. About 6 months after that, Hot Springs at the dealer meetings started really pushing your internal culture and dealing with employees. And, so that, because of Tom, because of you, we were not only 6 months ahead of the game. And this is where it gets more important, though. You can talk about it at a 3-day dealer meeting, and you're fired up about it. Then you go home, and what does it last? 3 days, and nobody else gets involved, and then it just dies out. That happens every single time. why 5-4 was important for us, and my analogy is perfect. You can commit to going to the gym to get in shape, and you know how that goes, New Year's resolution, or you can hire a personal trainer that's really going to hold you accountable to going to the gym to get in shape. And are there days you don't want to go? Yeah, more than not, but you do because you have a trainer like 5-4, and you do, and you grow and you become better, and that's the short of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of the, right, you talked about culture, right? So I see some of your values on the wall behind you, right? So we started that real focus on culture and just explaining what it means to be a problem solver and an effective communicator and how to live every day made better. Because as you're growing and bringing in new people, they didn't have that history. They didn't know that story. And we had to be able to tell it to them. But the next big thing that we worked on was setting a wildly important goal, and we did it around service. So just talk through that journey in service of what it was like and the goal you set, and then the difference that made.
Yeah, like back to the coming out of COVID, our service department probably was very good at kicking the can down the road. And you know, if you looked at the accounts receivable in service, it was knocking on the door of $1 million, and so you have the perfect storm going. No money coming in, kicking the can down the road, and customers that were not, you know, were very upset, and it was just a total mess, and not having, you know, that widely important goal, which we came in and set it, and it was just you want to talk about a culture shift. It was saying, okay, you know what? We're gonna go do this. We're gonna take the call. We're gonna get out there. We're gonna take care of it, and we're gonna collect in one time. And when we set that at over 90%, everybody was like, "No way!" And if every company's probably the same way, right? Oh, here we go again. Another goal. You know, we're never, we have the culture, we're never going to do it. So why even try? It's just talk. And and so vitally important with the culture statements or values, setting the widely important goal, you know, and I know what you're thinking right now, Nathan. Did you track it? And when you're showing the scoreboard, it really becomes a reality in daily life. And um, I know the word miracle is probably too often used in the wrong context, but in terms of our service department going from where we were to 90 days later, being 90% better, 90% better, let that sink in for a second, is a miracle. And it's because of, you know, doing the things that a trainer like 5-4 held us accountable to do. Um, and all I can tell you is it worked, and it does work. It works great. You just got to do it.
Yeah, I remember early on you saying, because when all those people didn't get the service they want, who did they call? They
Right.
called
Me.
they called Vince, right, at
Yeah.
all hours of the week.
Yeah.
And we set that wildly important goal to go from, and it was a guess that 20%, right? 20% of service calls were completed on the first visit, and we wanted to get to 90%. And you're right. At first, people were like, "That ain't. I don't see how that happens." But it's that you said, right. The biggest change came when we put up the scoreboard, and now everybody's looking, everybody's tracking, and then the question doesn't become, "Can we get there?" It's how do we get there? What are the changes? What did we learn this time? How do we get just a little bit better each day? And if you follow the system, it's almost like you can't help but achieve your goals. Um, then talk real quickly too about part of that being investing in the growth and development of everyone on the team, right? Because not everybody can go to the dealer meetings, but we can bring training to everyone in the company as well. what impact did that have on the business?
Yeah, like I said, at the dealer meeting, even if you bring people to the dealer meeting, myself included, although as the owner, I carry it out a little better. It's hard to keep that flame burning, but when you're have it in house and you're training daily, and the our assignments that we have to do, it's just let me use the war of attrition. It's a war of attrition. It's going to break down, what you thought, and change the way that you think. And not only is that the hope, but if the team in general starts, doing it, and others see others doing it, well, I want to be part of this. I want to be part of this culture. I need to do it too. We need to talk about it. Need to make it part of your daily life. And the miracle is, again, there I go with that word. Some of the people that were employed here didn't think that was a great idea, thought we should be spending our money on other things, and decided this wasn't a good place to work. And you know what? It's okay, because it flushes out the bad part of the culture too. So
Yeah.
there's many levels to it, but if you're not practicing, if you're not training, if you're not committing to being better, what the heck are you doing? What are you doing on a daily basis? I don't care what business it is, you have employees. They're either punching the clock, or they're punching the clock to become better through doing the culture improvements like 5-4, like our training on a daily basis. So
Yeah, one of the things you said there, Vince, again, is so important, is that if your culture attracts everyone, it's a bad culture, right? A good culture should attract the right person and repel the wrong one. And it's not even necessarily that that's a bad person, it's just a bad fit, right? So it's like, if you're not the kind of person who wants to get continuously better, this will be an uncomfortable place for you to work. That's just, and again, right, wrong, or indifferent, we're just talking about fit, because we are the ones that uh, watch training videos to help our mindset and our skill set on a regular basis. And so that if that's not something you're committed to, you'd be better off finding a better place to work. Um, so let's, well, one more thing.
yeah.
Let's now go to another change that's come over the last year or two here for you, and that's becoming an ESOP. Talk a little bit about that vision, and the difference that that is making and will make in the future for your business.
Well, you could go back, or you could go way back, but the ESOP idea came when Jim Van Fleet was passing through. North Dakota was the last state, and Jim Van Fleet, by the way, became the first ESOP in the Hot Springs Nation, and he's a big golfer. And North Dakota is the last state he hadn't golfed in, so he's coming through town. We have dinner. He's talking to our CFO Jeremy, and this is about 2017 or 18, and Jeremy's got now ESOP on the brain. He keeps telling me about it, goes in one ear and out the other ear. Well, I don't know when the light bulb came on, but finally, like, all right, we got to do this. And um, uncharted, unthought of, unheard territory. We were only going to be the second company in the whole hot tub industry to do this. So I can. It should have been a 3 to 5 year process, but we got in contact with the right people at Fargo. They told us the right people to contact in the ESOP world. Jeremy's hard work, and finally, I mean, if we weren't part of 5-4, and we weren't doing the things that you were helping us do and holding us accountable for, the ESOP thing might still be in process. And it really sped this along, and now we're a year and almost 2 years into it, and it's not magic, it's not for everybody, but it really, in my mind, it's great for this reason. I win. I get to pass a legacy on a business. I think the employees certainly win because now they can carry the torch, into the future. And certainly the customers win because everybody, as an employee owner, just does things a little bit different. And it's ESOP on its own, Nathan, is a whole conversation or program you could have, but it's been a wonderful thing. Again, it's not for every business, but it's worth looking into if you have, 15, 20 or more employees. And, and again, if it weren't for 5-4, I don't think we would be there yet because it's can be a rigorous process. But thanks to 5-4, we more than somewhat had our ducks in a row to weather that process.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we were honored to play a role. And the other one, for sure that it wouldn't have happened without is Jeremy, right?
Correct.
He was driving that process. And man, when he gets on something, watch out. Okay. So now to wrap this up, Vince, what does the future have in store for Hot Spring? I know recently you acquired another one of those hot tub dealers in Fargo, and you're expanding throughout Nebraska, throughout North Dakota. Just where are you going? What's the future hold for Hot Spring?
Well, truly, the sky is the limit, and the cliche, but we've truly come from a mom and pop shop, which just take the hot tub industry for a bit. Everybody thinks, you always do what you always did, you always get what you always got, which in some cases it's fine. But what the ESOP has done, we're not a mom and pop shop anymore. We're a legitimate business that making wellness a reality through Everyday Made Better, and the sky's the limit. As owners, if we have the proper foundation, these things are possible in the future. And I mean, it truly does not limit you to the boundaries of North Dakota anymore. It is, and the two things of an ESOP are profitability and growth. And just because you grow doesn't mean you're going to be profitable. But the thing I think the future holds, again, it's not about selling hot tubs more than ever. It's about reality of wellness. And it's about growth the right ways. And I don't have a magic crystal ball, but I have a good idea through all my years of doing this where if we do things right culturally and do things right through the ESOP, there's no boundaries to the future, because one, the culture and the right way of the culture and the right way of the ESOP will take care of the issues that may arise and allow us to propel forward. And I know that's a very generic answer, but you're a lot better with everybody on board culturally and ESOP wise than you are alone. You can't do it alone. You can, you can, you can be that mom and pop shop and always do what you always did and get what you always got, or you can build a team through 5-4, through the ESOP, and as a team, try to take us out. It's going to be impossible.
Yeah. Well, that's exciting, Vince, and this has been inspiring, right? To see that transition from growth being an inhibitor, of culture, to now culture being the catalyst for growth. So that's an exciting future for hot spring spas and pool tables too.
And you nailed it. I think culture is the only catalyst for growth. Otherwise, it's implosion is imminent.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be exciting to see what you do. So thanks for being here today. I know a lot of people are going to benefit from this conversation. So thanks for sharing your story with our audience.
Well, thanks for having me, and I hope a lot of people do benefit from it, because if you're willing to do it, it's real.
Great. And if you
All
have
right.
been watching and you enjoyed this episode as much as I did, be sure to subscribe, share this with your friends, and never miss another episode of Building Love Businesses. Until next time, I'm Nathan Schock. Keep building something you love in your corner of the world.